today we're starting a new topic, so go to a new page and put the topic heading down. Area, surface area and volume. Okay, so to go back to the beginning, we need to do our metric units, and we've done the basics of these before in previous years, but we have had to add to them. So the whole metric system is based on a base unit. The base unit does not have any prefix. So if we're talking about length, our base unit is metres, just the letter M. So with that base unit, and that actually has been kept, the actual original metre length is kept in France, where it actually started from, and all metric system measurements are based around the metre. So if we're talking about liquid measurements, we're talking about the litre being the base unit. If we're talking about mass, we're talking about grams being the base unit. Everything else from there needs a prefix in front of the base unit. Alright, so we have all of these prefixes. The only ones that you're really familiar with at the moment are milli and centi and kilo. All the other ones are really new, and the reason that these other ones have had to come in is because of technology. So with these ones here, pico, nano and micro, they were introduced because our science world has become so advanced that we're now looking at microscopic things, and we need to be able to show those very, very small measurements. Okay, so these have been introduced since the metric system began. So we've got pico, which has got a little letter of P as a prefix. So if it was a picometre, it would be PM. Alright, the pico means 10 to the power of minus 12. What that looks like as a fraction, it looks like this. So it's 1 over, because remember that minus sign there is a fraction bar. So it's 1 over 10 to the power of 12, which is a 1 with 12 zeros. So it's 1 million millionth. Very, very small. Okay, nano is bigger than that. It's got the prefix N. It's 10 to the power of minus 9, which is 1 over a 1 with 9 zeros after it. So it's 1 over a billionth. A billion has got 9 zeros, so it's 1 over a billion. All right, micro, which has this symbol here, which you probably don't know, but you will see it in advanced maths. It's mu. That's how you say it. It's 10 to the power of minus 6, which is 1 millionth. A 1 with 6 zeros on the denominator of the fraction. Milli, you know, is a thousandth. Centi, you know, is a hundredth. And then that's the end of the smaller one. So I've drawn a line here to show that, well, that's everything that's smaller than your base unit. Then we look at the things that are bigger than the base unit. So we have kilo. Sorry, I'll just try and move this closer. All right, kilo is 1,000 times the base unit. Then we had these ones. They were all introduced later. The reason they got introduced was for things like memory on computers. So when I was in year 10, I still remember going on work experience to the computer advanced systems in New South Wales Uni. And going in there, they had a whole classroom, it was bigger than a classroom, full of walls of computers. All of those walls of computers held enough memory that was way lower than what you've got on your laptop now. So we've advanced in the computer world, and so because of that and the memory that we now have on just small memories, memory sticks, the memory devices that store your memory, they have terabytes of them now. So what they introduced were these extra letters and extra prefixes. Mega is a capital M. They couldn't use a little m, that's been taken by milli. So all of these ones with the capital letters are things that are big things. So they used capital letters or big letters. Kilo got introduced so long ago they didn't have time to get to that one, but if they had their chance over again, they probably would have had a capital K there for kilo, because it's all bigger than the base unit. All right, so mega, capital M, is 1,000,000 times the base unit. Giga is 10 to the power of 9. So that's a 1 with 9 zeros, so that's 1 billion times the base unit. Tera is 10 to the power of 12, which is a 1 with 12 zeros. That big number times your base unit. All right, so with all of these things, we need to be able to convert from one thing to another. And so that's what we're working on today. We're going to start with the ones you're familiar with, and then we'll go to the harder ones, or the ones you're not familiar with. All right, so we're going to start by converting here 750 grams to milligrams. I know you probably all know how to do that, but I just want to get the working sorted so you'll know what you're doing with your working. So we're going to a smaller unit. When you go to a smaller unit, you multiply. Now, that's a base unit because there's only one letter there. But here we've got two letters, a prefix and the base unit. So the prefix here is little m, that's milli. Milli means 1,000. So we're timesing by 1,000. And when you do that on your calculator, you'll get that answer with milligrams on the end. Let's look at B. So we're going from kilograms to grams. We're going to a smaller unit, so we're multiplying. The only prefix involved here is the little k for kilo. So we know that's 1,000, so we're going to times by 1,000. And you'll get the answer of 200 grams. Now we're getting over to these ones over here that are a bit more complicated. So when you look at this first question up here, see, we've got two lots of prefixes. You cannot convert from one to the other very easily. You always need to go through your base unit if you have two prefixes in your units. So we're going to go to our base unit of litres in this case. So we're going to convert from kilolitres to litres first. So we're going to a smaller unit, which means we're multiplying. And that K for kilo is 1,000. So we're timesing by 1,000. Then we go from litres to millilitres. We're going smaller units again with our conversion. So we're multiplying by milli is 1,000. Okay, so you're going to do on your calculator 3 times 1,000 times 1,000 and get your answer, 3 million. So it'll be 3 million millilitres. Let's try the next one. So we're converting from kilometres to centimetres. They've both got prefixes. So we have to go through the base unit first, which in this case, if you look at the end, is metres. So we're going from kilometres to metres. Going to a smaller unit, we multiply. Kilo is 1,000. Then going over here, we're going from metres to centimetres. We're going to a smaller unit, so we're multiplying. Centi is 100. So on your calculator, you will do 2.7 times 1,000 times 100, and you should get this answer. And then you write your centimetres on the end. Okay, next question. Again, you look at it, you've got milli, you've got kilo. We are going to convert to our base unit first. They both end with litres, that's our base unit. So we're going from millilitres to litres first. We're going to a bigger unit. So we're dividing. Milli is 1,000. So divide by 1,000. Then over here we're going from litres to kilolitres. You're going to a bigger unit. So we're dividing. And kilo is 1,000. Now, don't try and get too clever on these, all right? I know what you're thinking, oh yeah, I know what that is. I'm dividing by 1,000, dividing by 1,000, I'm dividing by 2,000. You're not, okay? So don't think you know what you're doing. Just put it in your calculator. It's 75,000 divided by 1,000 divided by 1,000 equals. And if you do that, you'll get that answer and write kilolitres on the end. Okay, we're going to come back in the next video and do those extra prefixes that we've learnt about today.